Venice is not only the place I was born, it's still my home. It's a very famous place known for canals, churches, tiny bridges, gondolas, and masks. But what I want to share with you in these videos is the point of view of an insider with anecdotes and curiosities you don't find on history or guidebooks. So stay with me and enjoy it. Welcome to the Unwritten Venice. Venice, a land of freedom and democracy thanks to its 1,000 years as republic, capital of music and publishing, hides a terrible secret. On 1516, it was the first city to close the Jewish in a ghetto. As a cosmopolitan city, it began to house Jewish between the 4th and the 5th centuries, a community that remained for almost a millennium in perfect balance, living peacefully with the rest of the population. The community had installed itself on the island of Spinalonga, in front of Samark, and soon took the name of Giudecca, meaning the area where the Jews lived. The situation deteriorated after 1492, when the Catholic King of Spain, Ferdinand of Aragon, and Isabella of Castilla completed their Reconquista, that is, the recapture of the Spanish territories in the hands of the Arab Caliphate. Later, they immediately turned their attention to the large Jewish community by ordering conversion or expulsion. Many accepted the diktat, becoming conversos or marrani, while others left the country. These Jewish were called Sephardic, by Sephar, the name by which they defined Spain. At the beginning of the 16th century, in Venice, the number of the Israelis began to grow in a tumultuous way. A presence and a power which soon began to arouse some concern in the Venetian rulers. So on May 29, 1516, the Venetian Senate ordered to all Jewish to concentrate in a certain area of the city, closed by 2 doors to open in the morning and close in the evening. A former foundry known as Ghetto was chosen as an area, but the Ashkenazi Jewish from the Germanic word pronounced it Ghetto. From there, they could not go out or even widen, so much so that when the residents began to need more space, they had to get it, as then happened in many other ghettos, in height. Raising their homes, they reached buildings up to 8 stories tall, real skyscrapers for the time. Imagine that in that period of maximum expansion, there lived more than 2,000 people. The area is divided into 3: Old Ghetto, New Ghetto, and Brand New Ghetto. But, in spite of the name that misleads, the New Ghetto is the oldest one, in which the first Jewish from Central Europe, the Ashkenazis, settled. In fact, the term new and old refers to the construction of the foundries and not to the settlement of the Jewish in the area. The presence of the Jewish in Venice was of all interest to the Serenissima, because they were shrewd merchants and because only they could lend money in pledge, which was forbidden to Christians by religion. There were 3 pawn shops in Venice, all 3 overlooking Campo del Ghetto Nuovo: Banco Rosso, or the red bench, Banco Verde, the green, and Banco Nero, the black, probably named for the color of the receipts they delivered. But the Jewish could not accept everything in pledge. Objects such as weapons and religious objects were prohibited by law. Does Shylock, the merchant of Venice, recalls you something? Even Shakespeare has dedicated himself to the description of the Jewish usurper through one of his most famous works. The other professions allowed were of rag sellers and doctors. The latter, thanks to the precious knowledge gained by the studies done at the nearby University of Padua, were particularly appreciated. Those who had to leave the ghetto were obliged to wear distinctive marks or clothes or headdresses of different colors, depending on the historical period. It was Napoleon in 1797, the year in which he conquered Venice, who decided to permanently open the ghetto, which is now part of the Sestiere of Cannaregio, the largest in the city. In the campo of the new ghetto, there are 3 synagogues, invisible to most people. Due to the lack of space, in fact, they were incorporated into the houses. Only the sequence of 5 windows, as many as the books of the Torah, or a detail of the bima, signaled their presence. So why is the term ghetto used to these days, especially to describe the most infamous areas of the American suburbs? In the United States of America, between the abolition of slavery and the introduction of the civil rights, they often forced African Americans to live in certain neighborhoods, such as much of South Bronx, Compton in Los Angeles, Harlem in Manhattan. Because African Americans from all walks of life had to live in these neighborhoods, these areas often established themselves as dynamic cultural centers. Paradoxically, civil rights laws of 1960s, allowing wealthier African Americans to move to white-only zones, contributed to the economic collapse of many ghettos, whose level of well-being fell below average, while crime and urban degradation rates increased. Tip if you're planning to come to Venice. The visit to the Jewish Museum and synagogues is indispensable even for those who do not belong to this religious faith, but want to understand the relationship between this community and the city. If you want to delve deeper into the subject, you can visit, by appointment only, the ancient Jewish cemetery located at the Lido, dating back to 1300, so older than the ghetto itself. So thank you for watching. If you love this video, please subscribe and share.